Good afternoon. I got some more information about some of the crew members on the Titan, the Titan, the submersible that's on its way to, or was on its way to see the Titanic underneath the ocean. So I got some information on the crew of that submersible. Sorry, I'll put the notepad down a little bit. All right. So, Stockton Rush. He is the founder and the chief executive of Ocean Gate Expeditions. He's currently, or was, as we know, of piloting the vehicle with a basically a GameCube controller is what it looks like, as well. Something unique about this dude, and I got some unique facts about most of the crew. This one in particular is also pretty weird. This man, Stockton Rush, okay? And he's not the only person of the crew that has something weird about them, okay? I'm not saying it has anything to do with the submersible going down. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying it's freaking weird. All right, so Stockton Rush is related to two men that signed the Declaration of Independence. I'm not saying that's rare, because I think it's rare. I'm not saying it is, because I'm not an expert, but it sounds freaking rare or weird. I don't know. Two of his biological relatives signed the Declaration of the Independence of the United States. Kind of weird, kind of unique. Anyways, moving on. In 1984, he achieved a degree in aerospace engineering from Princeton. This guy, there's a quote by this guy that I wanted to read today for you guys. And supposedly, before he got into the maritime kind of exploration sort of thing, he was more so into space. He wanted to go to space. He wanted to be an astronaut. So this dude, Stockton Rush. This was a quote by Stockton Rush. I think it was taken from him about a year ago, because about a year ago or so, he was doing a bunch of interviews and stuff. He was talking a lot about his company. The what's it called? Ocean Gate Expeditions, and talking about his submersible. His submersible has gotten a lot of coverage over the last couple of years. It's not just becoming famous. That submersible has been famous for a little while. Anyways, quote from Stockton Rush reads as such. This is Stockton Rush, okay? Again, Stockton Rush is the current pilot of this submersible, the Titan, okay? I had this epiphany that I didn't want. It wasn't about going to space, Mr. Rush said. It was about exploring. It was about finding new life forms. I wanted to be sort of the Captain Kirk. Okay. I didn't want to be a passenger in the back, and I realized that the ocean is the universe. So he wanted to be an astronaut and then decided, I don't know, maybe it's just really hard to be an astronaut. But he decided that he was going to stick to the planet, I guess, and he found his universe really deep under the ocean. Anyways, that was a quote by him I wanted to read for you guys, just kind of get an idea from him about him a little bit. So I'm going to put this laptop away now. And moving forward. All right, so let's move on to Hanish Harding. Hanish Harding is a businessman, a British businessman, billionaire, by the way. He's an explorer. He holds the world record for the longest time spent traveling in the deepest part of the ocean on one single dive. So he's not a beginner when it comes to anything maritime. This guy is pretty well versed in exploration. Okay, so he not only is a rich man that spent a lot of money to go on this exploration, but he's probably one of the only people on that vessel right now that understood the risks that went with going so far underneath the surface of the ocean. All right, now moving on. Paul Henry, Nargiolet, I believe is how you say it. He's a French maritime expert. Okay, so he spent something 30 some odd years in the Navy in France, and then 35 dives to the Titanic alone. So this guy's been to the Titanic 35 times. I'm not sure what the world record is, but I know 35 times is a lot. This guy's been down there a lot. He's well-versed, well-trained in this specific expedition, this specific routine expedition. It's something they do routinely, right? Now, the last two people, okay, they're a father and son pair. The son is 19. He's a young man. And the father, Sharada Sharada Daywood, and his son is Soulman or Soulman. I'm not sure how you say these names very well, but they are they're very, very wealthy family. Pakistani. He's from Pakistan. Okay, but the really weird thing I wanted to touch. Okay, so we had one weird thing earlier. Stockton Rush, two of his blood relatives signed the Declaration of Declaration of Independence in the United States. Okay, as well. The second weird thing I thought was worth mentioning, Sharada Daywood, okay? He is a 48-year-old, one of the most wealthiest men in Pakistan and father to one of the most wealthiest families in Pakistan. This man holds a seat as vice chairman for a little organization that we all know as SETI, okay? I don't know how to say that without dropping a bomb on it, but... So the Search for Extraterrestrial Institute. So basically little green men. This guy sits on the vice chairman chair of that board looking for aliens. Looking for aliens, dude. All right. But I'm not saying that's what they're doing right now underneath the sea. I'm not saying that it has anything to do with them being under the sea. I'm just saying, I don't know if there's a connection. If there was, that'd be cool. If there isn't, I don't know. Anyways, what I really wanted to get into the New York Times today reported that they are capturing sounds through sonar, catching sounds of knocking every 30 minutes. Every 30 minutes they're hearing knocking close to where they believe the vessel should be, which tells me one thing. People, intelligent life. You don't catch fish knocking on things every 30 minutes, okay? It just ain't going to happen. There's a good chance that crew's alive right now. There's a good chance that they're down there right now. There's a good chance that they are freaking out. And another thing I wanted to talk about before ending this little synopsis type podcast going on right now, one thing I wanted to talk about was under such threatening conditions, how does the human dynamic change, okay? And I was thinking about it all day. I was like, what do I want to talk about? There's a lot of things that goes into the human dynamic, especially when you're looking at almost certain death, okay? I think the first thing they did when they lost power or whatever the first incident was, if it wasn't an immediate death, and I'm saying that as if there was no knocking or if the knocking isn't them or whatever it is, but if the knocking's them, that's great for now, right? Because we only have till about midday Thursday this week to really get them out. So that actually is tomorrow, midday tomorrow. Well, depending on when you see this, it might be too late by the time you see this. But regardless, like I'm saying, troubleshooting. I imagine they went straight into a troubleshooting type of mood. Like everything just went to, all right, let's break down troubleshooting steps. Let's go through this system. Let's go through this system. Let's try to do this. I'm sure they did as much troubleshooting as heavenly possible. They might even, if they're still alive, they might even still be doing some troubleshooting. They should be, for Christ's sake, for their life. They should be. But anyways, so that's the first thing I was thinking about when they first lost communication, they lost power, whatever it was. I imagine they went into some kind of troubleshooting extravaganza, okay? And then fear. A lot of fear sets in. You got to remember, too, that what they're sitting in is about the size of a minivan, so they're very close in quarters. They're talking to each other. They're talking about life. I mean, come on now. Like, you're looking at almost certain death. This is when you really connect with people, believe it or not. So I'm sure they're talking a lot, or they have spoke a lot, just to connect with that within fear, you know. And then once that fear, I think the fear is strongest initially, and then in most things. And I'm not saying what I've been through is anything comparable to this. I'm not saying that, okay? But I have been scared for my fucking life before, okay? I have been scared for my fucking life before. So I could tell you that fear, it's not constant, but it hits you and then it sets in. You get used to it. You live with it. So at some point they're going to be like, okay, this is scary as hell, but then they might become a little sad now, or they might have some resentment or anger at this point. I mean, if you're thinking about it now, okay, 4 or 5 people in a very tight quarters, and one of them in that room is responsible for us all being here and guaranteed us it would all be safe. Almost, I'm not saying he guaranteed it. But even if he didn't guarantee it, down there's no laws. So whether he guaranteed it or not, it's just the 5 men on board, my friend. Okay? So keep that in mind. So when I say anger and resentment, the people in that little pod right now, like they're grown men. And they're all looking at that one man right now as like, dude, we're going to die. We're almost guaranteed to die because of whatever it is you did or whatever it is you didn't do or whatever it is. For whatever reason, that pilot, what was his name again? The guy related to the two dudes that signed the Declaration of Independence, Mr. Stockton Rush, okay? No matter what, Stockton Rush is the one, I mean, what do they say? I mean, when a ship goes down, who do they normally blame, dude? The captain, bro. And he's piloting that thing, and he's been in charge of that whole organization for years. So it's pretty much being stuck with the man that's responsible for your life in a minivan, and you can't get out. That's the dynamic I believe is kind of going on right now. And I said resentment because if they don't act on it, and I'm not saying they did act on it, but I'm saying like when you know you're going to die, right? And you know there's no laws, and nothing's going to get you in trouble, and you're looking at the man that's literally responsible for the end of your life, you might take matters into your own hands, and you might not even have control of that. You might just come to the point out of anger and resentment that, hey, man, if I'm going to die here, so are you, but you're going to die first. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm just saying I'm trying to think of all the dynamics. And that little tiny minivan-sized pod, that little minivan-sized submersible, I'm guaranteed it's not all smiles and happiness if they're still alive. It's a lot of anger, a lot of fear at first, troubleshooting and fear at first, and then I think the reality sets in and you start to really think about your life, and you got just about enough time to do it. 96 hours is just enough time to really sit down and think about, the important things in your life, and then sit down and talk about the important things in the lives of the people around you, which are the only other 4 people in the pod or in the submersible. Anyways, so this is some things I want to touch on. I know it's not very long, but most of you guys don't watch my videos. You just watch my TikToks, so it doesn't even really matter. But I do these for me because it helps me with my editing. Helps me learn more how to edit. Helps me learn how to do research better and stuff like that. I get it. You guys love the TikToks. Cool. I'm going to keep pushing them. But just be aware. If you guys want to, you can always follow the link, come to the video and watch the video. You can follow the TikTok, subscribe to the YouTube. You can like everything, comment on everything. We got some comments on some TikToks yesterday. Some guys were upset. That's okay. I don't really, I respect your opinion, man. You want to be upset in my comments? Cool, dude, do it. Cool. And hey, I'm not going to name your name, but I saw you defending me in one of those comments. All right, and I appreciate you. Another service member. I don't want to say your name, but you called yourself. Hey, man, we look out for each other. Appreciate you, brother. But yeah, my opinion is going to continue to come out whether you like it or not. Until you buy your own cameras and fight me on it, then just you're going to have to deal with it. All right, I love you guys. And one more thing. I might touch on it either later this week or next week, but Andrew Tate has been charged officially with a lot of really serious charges, including rape and human trafficking of minors. So I don't know what's going to happen now, but the charges are official as of, I believe it was either last night or this morning. But we'll get more into that in another video. Anyways, love you guys, and have a good day. All right.